Hi guys, this is my chapter 7 video response. I'm just gonna start answering some questions. First question is, what are at least 3 primary groups in your life? How do you differentiate them from your secondary groups? What are the similarities and differences between the groups? And how would our author explain them? The 3 primary groups in my life are my family, my friends, and the people from my congregation. These groups are different from my secondary groups as I can discuss personal matters with them without being judged. I also feel valued and understood by these groups, and I can see myself with them for the long term. Some of the similarities between the primary groups and secondary groups might be the celebration of achievements. They both celebrate achievements. For example, the author says, at work they may recognize you for your on-the-job achievements, but they may never see your off-the-job sacrifices. That was in section 7.3. Secondary groups usually celebrate achievements that are related to the group goals. So basically, like work, if your achievement was related to your work, then they'll recognize you for your contribution in that area. While primary groups celebrate some of the more personal achievements, so like birthdays, graduations, stuff like that. One of the differences might be if we fail in secondary groups. For example, at work, we could get corrective action or we could get fired. While most of the time in a primary group, they are going to stay with you despite your failures and downfalls. There's some times where you can have like some serious failures, and then like if you do something against the law or something, or that could I could see that affecting some of your primary groups. But besides that, the author says that primary groups will continue valuing you for who you are, feeling safe and secure, supported, even as you explore and make mistakes. As for one of my primary groups that I have formed, it was my friend group, my first primary friend group. It started when we were kids. At first, I really just wanted to get to know them because, I was uncertain of how to interact with them. So, getting to know them definitely got rid of some of that uncertainty. That's where the uncertainty theory comes into play, which the book talks about, the author defines as the states that we choose to know more about others with whom we have interactions in order to reduce or resolve the anxiety associated with the unknown. That's found in section 7.3. And as I was getting to know them, or as I was progressing in that group friendship, there were times when the group experienced some forms of conflict. The author says this is the storming stage and defines it as a time of struggles as the members sort out their differences after those initial stages. After those initial stages, we went on to become a really good friend group, and we came to respect and rely on each other. Second question. Apply the trans-theoretical model of change to a social movement you've witnessed in your life. What was the movement? How can we analyze it using this model? One of the more controversial social change movements that's taken place, or that I have witnessed, is the legalization of marijuana. While legalizing marijuana is not necessarily considered to be a positive change, it is still considered to be a social change movement. The first stage of legalization was pre-contemplation, when there really wasn't a push to legalize it at all, and nobody was really thinking about it. Second stage was contemplation. Many people probably thought about legalization, and but they didn't really do anything about it. The third stage was preparation, and this is where people became aware that alcohol can be more dangerous than marijuana, and that for alcohol to be legal and marijuana to not be didn't really make sense. Although at this point no actions were taken. The fourth stage is action. In this stage, legalization activists fight for the discrimination of the drug, and it's legalized on the state level for a certain number of states, not all of them. The fifth stage is maintenance. This is where activists support their actions by attempting to get legalization on the federal level. This is where the federal legalization bill gets approved by the House, but it didn't get approved by the federal and I forgot what the other one was. Anyways, sixth stage is relapse. This social change movement doesn't seem to be having setbacks or signs that marijuana will go back to being illegal. Sorry, I'm a little tired. And this is found in section all the trans theoretical model of change and social movements and stuff like that is found in section 7.5. Explaining the terms cultural hegemony and cultural imperialism as they appear in the text. After explaining these ideas, give an example from something you've seen in popular culture that might demonstrate, explain how these two concepts work together. Cultural hegemony, I'm sorry if I'm butchering that, is basically when a culture is being ruled by an upper class, or as the author explains it, the dominion of a society's culture by the ruling class. This is found in section 7.3. Cultural imperialism is the creation and maintenance of an unequal power relationship between cultures wherein one dominates the other. This is also found in section 7.3. One example in pop culture that demonstrates these two concepts very well is our country, America. The American government has the power and authority over people in its borders, which is cultural hegemony. I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering that so bad. And it also, the government, or America, has a huge influence over other countries as well. And this would be a form of cultural imperialism. This is basically an example of an unequal power relationship, and that can see by the obvious implementation of Western ideals into other countries. And sometimes those ideals can sort of fade out the original culture that was there, which isn't really good. But yeah, that is all for today. Thank you.